Hey there and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another one of my second impressions videos for you guys. I have a whole bunch of fragrances to get through and let you know what I think about them, how it's been wearing them, and all that information that I wouldn't have been able to share in their respective haul videos because the big majority of them, as with most of my fragrance purchases, are blind buys. So in my hauls, they're usually first impressions, and then I come back with second impressions videos. So if you've only checked out a couple of my videos, or if this is your first video, do make sure you subscribe. I know a lot of you guys are watching and commenting. I love to talk to you guys, but don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified every single time I put out a video, and it really helps out my channel as well. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start with a grouping of fragrances that I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on because I've done a full dedicated video on my Wild Coast Perfumery fragrances, and I've talked about one of them in my July favorites video that recently went out. So I'm really just gonna say that I still like them. There isn't really anything that's changed other than the fact that I think in my dedicated video I really liked and had been using Salt Spring, which is the larger one, but honestly in the past month I've found that, because I have one in the 15 ml and then obviously one of the larger ones, and then I have 4 in these smaller 7.5 mils. And what I've really found is the 2 that I've been wearing the most is actually Tribune Bay and Tofino. So Tofino I've talked about in my favorites video, my July favorites. I just think it's very nostalgic for me. It's very much like a lakeside getaway kind of scent. There's something very alluring about it. And Tribune Bay, I really like because it's the most tropical. It's very tropical. Tribune Bay is like Canada's Hawaii, basically. And yeah, it's very tropical, it's fruity, and we've just had a bunch of really hot days, and weeks actually. So I took this away with me to kind of like a mini beach getaway, which it was perfect to have there. It's very light and they're not beast mode because they're just natural fragrances without any synthetics or anything. But if you guys are interested in natural fragrances and trying them out, then this is a line that I've tried out. And yeah, I'm still liking them, but those main 2 are the ones that have really stood out to me. After a long wear test, those are the ones I can easily recommend. So then we will get to one that actually wasn't a blind buy. And so my impression of it really hasn't changed. I knew I loved it, and that's Mmmm, so that's 4 M's and an ellipses by Juliette Has A Gun. I have always loved this fragrance. It just took me a very long time to pick it up, as is the way with me oftentimes. And yeah, I still really like it. It's very root beery. It's very much like Hypnotic Poison by Dior. And it's kind of synthetic in that way. It's like a much more synthetic version of Hypnotic Poison, and it has less lasting power in terms of hours than Hypnotic Poison as well. That's another fragrance that I've loved for years, and I've had samples and decants, and I don't know why I've never picked it up. I definitely need to, but if you like Hypnotic Poison, this is very similar to it. It's very similar to the root beery vibes that Code Casmir and Code Satin have. But yeah, I know it's not for everyone. I know some of you have commented that you only like Hypnotic Poison and that you're not really into this, or that you don't really feel the need to have both. I totally understand that. I don't think the average person needs both Hypnotic Poison and this, and in that case you might want to go for Hypnotic Poison unless you want to go for this because it's a little less expensive. But personally for me, I would still buy Hypnotic Poison because I just love fragrances like this. I love scents that are root beery and have that very particular and specific almond note. I mean, I love almond in all of its forms, but I adore this fragrance. I really love it. I do wish it would last a bit longer, but it has kind of medium lasting power, sillage performance. It's kind of middle of the road. And recently I've been having performance issues with pretty much everything. One of you let me know that it might just be because I've gotten tan and the pH levels affect fragrance, so that might be the case, but because I remember this lasting longer on me before. But yeah, love it, can't complain, and it's totally up my alley, so love that. Then we'll get to two by the same house that I actually hauled together. So we'll start off with the Poudrée by Narciso Rodriguez. You guys, I love this. I have no idea why I've just been sleeping on Narciso Rodriguez as a house. I feel like I tried the pink and black one, and I'm not sure what they're called, in store ages ago, and it never really spoke to me, I think, but maybe I was just distracted by so many other things in store, and then I just never ventured back. But this is stunning. The musk in this, the powderiness, it's just, if you're a powdery fragrance lover, if you're a musk fragrance lover, then you really can't go wrong with this. It is beautiful, and I should not have slept on it for as long as I did. It is so warm and cuddly and comforting and sexy, and it lasts a really long time. I find, especially because with powdery fragrances, I'm already an oversprayer, but with powdery fragrances, I, amp that up just a bit. And in clothing, this lasts a crazy amount. Even on the skin, it's just warm, delicious, and I cannot say enough good things about it. It's opaque, so I can't see how much I've gone through of this, but I can imagine it's already got a good dent in it, and I can see myself easily going through this. And honestly, it might be repurchase worthy, which for me is huge because I do not repurchase fragrances very often at all. So love that. The other one by Narciso Rodriguez is the Rouge, and when I was hauling it, I remember I said, I still have to play around with it. I do like it, but it's second to Poudrée. I think it's still second to the Poudrée in terms of if I had to absolutely keep one, I would keep the Poudrée, but I have really, really warmed up to this one. I think it's gonna come up and be a lot more loved when it gets a little bit colder because it's got a kick to it, it's got a lot more warmth to it, more spice to it, but it's still very, very musky, powdery, floral. Yeah, it's just got a kick to it. I really like it. Again, I feel like between the two, if I had to pick, I'm more of a Poudrée person, but I've definitely warmed up to this one, and I do like it. It does, again, last a pretty good amount of time. For some reason, I feel like I get more sillage out of this than this one, even though this is a stronger fragrance. But in general, they're both fragrances that have lasted a pretty good amount of time, even with the performance issues I'm having with everything on my skin lately. They're not two that stand out that just kind of disappear. So that is great. And then we will move to another one that I knew what I was getting myself into. So, my opinion really hasn't changed, and that's Casmir by Chopard. If you guys didn't watch that video where I hauled this is one I really just picked up for nostalgic purposes. I don't see myself ever going through this fully, and that's not why I purchased it. This is just one of the two fragrances that my mom used to wear when I was little, and I wanted, I've had the first one that she had for ages, so I wanted my own bottle of this one. It's beautiful. I picked up a tester bottle, so it's missing the cap, but again, I don't mind. It's just so sweet, and it's like an apricot peach dessert. It's very, it's very reminiscent of beautiful memories growing up. So love that. I'll wear it from time to time when I'm just, in the mood or if I miss her, but in general, this isn't one I'm gonna wear every single day or finish up. Then we will get to the last four fragrances for this second impressions video. So I'll start with the one that I actually, out of all my fragrances, made it into my Travelo. So a couple years ago, I don't even know how many years ago now, but these were all the rage, more than a couple years ago, the Travelos, and I've still kept mine. I might have lost the other or gifted it, but I've still kept one of mine, and this is the fragrance that made it into my Travelo this month, and that's Noir, the Eau de Parfum by Givenchy. I finished it in this. I've put a good dent in this because I feel like it was a lot closer to the top. I really do like this. I'm gonna work on a layering video for you guys because I know some of you guys have brought it up of wanting me to talk about how I lay fragrances and what I like to layer. So I'm brainstorming about that one because that's gonna be, in a couple weeks or so. I need some time to really come up with everything, but this is one that I know you guys were interested in, and I was thinking about layering at first because I mentioned that it doesn't really have a lot of sweetness to it, which I thought it was going to have. It's a lot more nutty and powdery and seed-like because I think there's sesame seed in this. But I have enjoyed this on its own as well, which I was not expecting for myself. I think it's beautiful. It is so unique. It is so, I don't know, alluring and warm, and while it projects, and you can definitely smell it, and it has sillage, it also stays close to the skin in its dry down. It's just beautiful. I cannot say enough good things. This is definitely not for everyone, nor is it a safe blind buy, if only because I can't see a huge amount of the population being like, wow, this is incredibly, I don't know, up my alley. But personally, I think it's so, so nice. It has probably, if not already, I think I'm just going to say it has the most authentic almond note I've ever smelled. It truly smells like actual, not almond in how it's kind of played into fragrance or it's created as a note, not almond like in Mmmm or in, you know, Hypnotic Poison. It smells like straight up almonds, almond slivers, sesame seeds. It sits very close to the skin, so it's definitely not for everyone. I will say I'm going to work on that layering video, but I will say just off the bat, since it's here, these two have really layered beautifully with one another because this is musky, this is, you know, it's got that powdery nuttiness, and it doesn't bring too much sweetness, but it does warm it up just a little bit, and, you know, just helps it be a little bit more quote-unquote wearable. So I have enjoyed that mix, but yeah, it's been really nice. And again, not for everyone. Try to get a sample of this or be really sure of what you like and how strongly you like almond, because yeah, it's very particular, but I do really like it. Then on the other hand, one that was kind of a dud, and it's unfortunate, but it has to happen every once in a while with blind buys, and that was Violet Diamonds, or Diamond Violet by Versace. And honestly, this was one, even at the start of purchase, I was kind of iffy about. It's not a dud where it's horrible. I will wear this just to finish it up, but I kind of immediately after the first week knew that this was not going to be a fragrance I wore for fun or that brought me a huge amount of enjoyment. This is just a middle of the road fragrance. It's a lot more, sprayed over here, it's a lot more fruity and citrusy than I was expecting. I really don't get enough violet out of this personally to make it worthwhile for me. It's just a step too fruity and citrusy personally. And honestly, it kind of has a kick to it as well, but it's a strange kick. It's just not my thing. It really, really isn't. But I assume if you guys are more into fruity fragrances, or if you're super into, I don't know, citrusy, very synthetic to my nose, very synthetic, but usually I'm okay with that. And with this one, it just, there's something about it that isn't the best on my skin. So yeah, this was kind of a dud. And then finally, the last two I won't spend a lot of time on because I kind of talked in depth about them when I hauled them, but they are the Jil Sander Sun and Jil Sander Sun Men. And basically my opinion on these has not changed. I don't really wear Sun Men that much personally. I mean, I think it's nice, but it is one that I'm just gonna wear from time to time. It's a very clean aftershave men's kind of fragrance, and you know, this was basically like in a mistake given to me for free, so it's not one I would have picked up for myself knowingly. However, I would totally recommend it for men as a very nice cheapy summer scent. I think for spring and summer, this is a very, if the men in your life really like clean aftershavey, you know, just citrusy, very, very fresh fragrances, you can't really go wrong with this. The price is great. It's got good lasting power. You can get it in a pack with the shampoo. And yeah, it's just, it's usually there's nothing that's too masculine for me, and this isn't too masculine. It just, it kind of sits by the wayside with so many other fragrances to try. So definitely do recommend, more so for men than for women, but to each their own. And then the Sun for women, this one, you guys, I love. And I've talked to some of you guys in the comments who wanted kind of a description on this one. And I feel like this is a very European take on a beachy fragrance, because for me, this just screams pool. It doesn't scream beach. And I think it's because it's not sunscreeny, it's not copper tone like, but it still screams sun and summer. And there is something about this that's very pool-like. This also, it's an eau de toilette spray, and it lasts a very long time, even with all the performance issues I'm having with everything on my skin lately. This has been very, very well done, incredible projection and overall performance. So I've loved this. I've tried to explain it time and time again of kind of what it smells like, and it is a hard one to place. The only thing I'll say is personally, and you know, for the North American market, I would say it's a lot more of a summer pool fragrance than a summer beach fragrance. And it's a very European take on a beachy fragrance because it doesn't have that kind of, I don't know, soleil, Tom Ford soleil fragrance or copper tony. It's not, you know, it's not like Beach Bobby Brown. It's none of those things. So if you're not into sunscreeny scents, which I am, then you might like this take, but it's very unique and I really, really love it. So yeah, that was my second impressions video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!